I voted for Trump.
I voted for Biden.
I'm white.
I'm black.
I would kill for him.
And I would die for him.
No matter what your beliefs are, or your opinions, you'd always come at together as one and unite.
Let's play a fun game. You might be a romantic if you've ever been in a relationship just because you thought you were supposed to. You've never or have rarely ever had crushes. You don't know what a crush feels like. You don't know what romantic attraction feels like. You don't know whether you're gay, straight, or what because you aren't drawn to any particular gender. You've made up crushes at some point in your life to fit in with other people your age. You've only had crushes on a few people you know really, really well. The only thing that appeals to you about a romantic relationship is sex. Nothing about a romantic relationship appeals to you. Any romantic attraction you've ever had feels like it fades over time. You have a really hard time falling in love. You don't know whether you're aromantic because sometimes you feel it and sometimes you don't. If this felt like a call-out post, you're gonna wanna watch my next video.
What is the biggest I don't give a fuck moment you have ever witnessed? I'll go first. One day in math class, we had an exam, and the girl next to me, Lisa, was cheating. She had like a piece of paper in her left hand, and she would look at it and write down. So obviously, after a while, the teacher noticed. He came over and said, "Give me that piece of paper, right now." I will forever remember what happened next. Lisa looked up with dead-ass eyes, and then she ate the paper. She just chucked it down, and then looked back up and said, "What paper?" The teacher was so confused and just went like, "The paper you just ate." And Lisa, like a stone cold bitch, looked around her table and just went like, "I don't see no paper." The teacher looked around the classroom and was like, "Everybody saw you." And the whole classroom, like one person, looked back at their papers and was like, "No, I didn't see shit."
Why is your book blocking the camera?
It's because I can't look at this thing.
What thing?
That thing.
Why is that book on there?
Because I can't look at this thing either.
It's so funny.
I am not lost, oh Christ, son of a bitch.
The goddamn gun got stuck! Now you go and tell Dr. Stoll, keep the crowd happy like goddamn son of a bitch.
That must be Bert now. I told him to meet me here. The goddamn match won't strike.
This isn't my betting. Oh, betting, damn it.
He flew one over there and never came up, never came back, never showed up. The son of a bitch drowned.
Shit list wall. So how it works is any guy who has potential love interest with one of us comes on the wall and gets his name up there. Anytime he does something bad, he gets a strike. As you can see, there's multiple strikes. You also get a star if you do something good, and you can erase one strike by getting 5 stars. But as you see, we have a couple of these highlighted strikes. Those highlighted strikes means they really did something bad, and these can never be removed no matter how many stars the person has. 3 strikes and the person is out of our lives, as you can tell, but their strike list still goes on. They could potentially remove strikes, as I said, by getting more and more stars. For example, as this person has a lot of strikes, you'd have to get 5, 10, 15, and 20 stars to remove himself back to 1 strike. As I said again, these strikes with the highlighted mark can never be removed. Good luck, boys.
Of all the colors that y'all could have picked for your transphobic super straight flag, you chose the colors of the Grindr flag. Yes, Grindr, the gay hookup app. Congratulations, y'all are a new level of stupid.
Mulan, sweetie, can I be top tonight? I'm sorry, who saved China again?
People are always like, "Oh, you're gay, so you like men, right?" First of all, I'm attracted to men. I do not like men. I hate men. Get away from me.
He's like, what the fuck? Is he not gonna say anything? He's questioning his life decisions right now.
I lost my train of thought.
Oh, ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I got to keep on moving.
So there was this little girl in church who was sitting in front of us in the biggest, puffiest coat in the middle of summer, and her parents had obviously let her dress herself. I don't know, she was like 5 or something. And like 15 minutes into the sermon, she turns around and hands my brother an orange, and her parents look at her, they're like, Savannah, not again. And so they sit her back around facing forward, and she waits a couple minutes before she turns back around and tries to hand me an orange. But her parents grab it out of her hand this time and force her to sit back around. But she was determined, dude. She takes her little fist and she just shoves them into her coat pockets and pulls out 2 more oranges. And she just throws them to random people in the aisle. At this point, her parents are just like so red in the face and embarrassed and stuff that there's basically no stopping this little Savannah girl now. This child proceeds to laugh, the most maniacal little evil laugh that I've ever heard, as she unzips her inner coat pockets and out falls 20 or 30 of these tiny little oranges. And she goes, "We eat now!" And she starts throwing the oranges to random people in the pews. And at this point, the priest is laughing, the band is laughing. And I tell you, that little girl basically felt like Jesus on the mountain.
Every week is fashion week for me. It's me, Michael. Every week is fashion week for me.
Mom? Dad?
Oh, stranger.
そんなものはない。この爪欲しいな。楽しませ。それがいいな。
So we all know Nuka from Lion King 2. But I have a theory about this scrawny fella. See, Nuka's mane doesn't fit with the type of small-maned lions, as small-maned lions will still have a substantial amount of hair growing entirely around the head. Nuka's mane is closer to that of an adolescent, but by the time Kovu's already grown up, Nuka's mane hasn't changed at all. Meaning that this is as full as his mane is going to get. However, there is something very familiar about his mane. Lionesses have been known to spontaneously grow manes or patches of manes. And in fact, like this one here, can sometimes grow full manes. When this happens, they'll often begin acting like male lions. On top of that, even with as skinny as he is, you can tell he does not have the standard lion shape. As comparing him to Kovu or Simba, his hips drop down more, which is much closer to a lioness in nature. Even art of a healthy Nuka has this drop, so Nuka might be intersex or maned lioness, as he displays the physical characteristics of both.
What's your country's biggest flex on the rest of the world?
Dark humor. This is a horrible joke. Forgive me, Father. This is dark humor. Dark humor. I'm dark sorry. Humor. I shouldn't say dark humor. I'm gonna say it. Fuck my life. Okay? Someone's gonna kill me. Fuck.
You don't really need to go to a shooting range when you have public schools.
I was today years old when I learned about yet another mistranslation in the Christian Bible, and this particular mistranslation gave me so much baggage! There is no historical evidence or any evidence in the original scripting of the Bible that Mary was a virgin. It was a mistranslation. Specifically a mistranslation when it was being translated from Greek. From Greek. Apparently in ancient Greek, the name or the word for young woman was basically synonymous with
virgin when it was translated into other languages, which means in the original manuscript of the Bible, it was not meant to be read as virgin. It was God came unto the woman, the young woman, Mary, and begat the Son of God. Purity culture is literally based on a mistranslation from thousands of years ago. What the fuck?
Hiding mini Joe Bidens around my Republican parents' house until they start to notice.
Hey Mom, remember when you told me I'd learn everything I'd ever need to know in school? Yeah? Well, I never learned how to do taxes, what taxes are, how to manage money, anything about banking, how to grow food, how to handle rejection, how to love myself, how to handle interviews, how to buy my first home, how to survive in the wild, or how to handle myself in dangerous situations. But I sure am glad I know the Pythagorean theorem.
Tell me a conspiracy theory that you heard that blew your mind.
So the princess of Amun-Ra was mummified and buried deep in a vault in Egypt in 1500 BC. Thousands of years later, 4 Englishmen traveled to Luxor so that they could buy her tomb. One of them disappeared, one of them was shot, one of them went bankrupt, and one of them became severely ill. So a London businessman bought it, but then 3 of his family members were injured mysteriously and his house caught on fire. So then it was placed in a British museum where people who came in contact with it were either severely injured or died. Even the night watchers at the museum complained that they could hear screaming and sobbing coming from the tomb. A journalist took a picture of it, and when he developed the picture, he saw a crazy face and shot and killed himself. So eventually an American archaeologist decided to buy it and bring it back to New York Harbor. So it's going to set sail in April of 1912. And in case you haven't figured it out, here's what ship it was on.
And your whole theory again.
Okay, so in Cinderella, when she gets up in the morning, right, she's dressed by all these woodland creatures, like little bluebirds bring her apron, and her hair is done up by a chipmunk or some sort of rubbish like that. But there's absolutely no sign of knickers. No panties are involved, which raises the interesting possibility that Cinderella goes through that whole movie commando. And this makes utter sense, because the prince, who's shown absolutely no interest in women whatsoever, he has shunned the company of women for reasons best known to himself, suddenly gets all interested in Cinderella, so one cannot help but wonder what he saw reflected in the glass slipper.